Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to today's session. So today we are going to discuss a very important press release that has been released by the Reserve Bank of India that is regarding two very important MOUs that have been signed between India and UAE. So these are very important MOUs from the exam perspective. We will have complete clarity about these MOUs, okay? And by the end of the session, we will also practice some questions so that you can understand that how much you have learned and how much you remember, okay? But before that, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Telegram channel for the PDF of this session. So now starting with the news article, the Reserve Bank of India and the Central Bank of United Arab Emirates, they have signed two memorandum of understandings in the Abu Dhabi. The first MOU is for the establishment of a framework to promote the use of the local currencies for the cross-border transactions, for the trade that is happening between the two countries, the remittances that are being sent between the two countries, as well as the investment that is happening. So that should happen in the local currencies, okay? Till now what was happening, that if the Indian person wants to sell clothes, if the Indian seller wants to sell clothes to the United Arab Emirates, so the Indian seller will want to have the money in the rupees, okay? But the UAE, like the person do not understand the terms in rupee, and so the Indian seller will have to convert this rupees into dollars and will have to make the invoice in the dollars. The UAE person will have to convert the dirham, that is the currency of UAE, into the dollars and will have to provide these dollars to the Indian person, and the Indian seller will have to convert these dollars into rupees. You can understand that it is a very troublesome task and it is a very time taking task, okay? So now a MOU has been signed between the RBI and the Central Bank of UAE so that a framework can be established to promote the use of the local currencies. Okay, there should be a particular framework so that the promotion of the use of the local currencies, that is the Indian rupees and the dirham, UAE dirham, that is in the short form it is AED, can happen for the cross-border transactions, so that the dollar will not be required. The dollar will not be required for the cross-border transactions. You can understand that this is a very big thing for our country, that now UAE has agreed to establish a framework so that the local currencies can be used for the cross-border transactions. So this is the first MOU that we are going to understand in depth in the coming slides. The second MOU is for the cooperation for interlinking their payment and the messaging systems. I hope you remember that the UPI, that is the payment system, real-time payment system of India, was linked with the PayNow, that is the real-time payment system of Singapore. Similarly, now we want, so MOU has been signed with the Central Bank of United Arab Emirates, that there will be the cooperation for the interlinking of the payment systems of the two countries, and the messaging system will also be interlinked of the two countries. For this, the MOU has been signed. So what is this financial messaging system and what is this MOU all about, that we will understand in the coming slides very clearly, okay? But I hope you have got the brief idea that the two MOUs have been signed. The first one is to establish a framework so that the local currencies can be used for the cross-border transaction. The second MOU is for the cooperation to interlink for the linkage of the payment system and the financial messaging system. So the MOU were signed by the Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Shri Shaktikanta Das, and the Governor of the Central Bank of UAE, HE Khaled Mohammed Blama, okay? And the MOU was exchanged between the two governors in the presence of the Prime Minister of India and the President of the UAE. So now coming to the first MOU, let's understand it clearly. So the first MOU is for the establishment of a framework so that the local currencies can be used for the transactions that are happening between the India and UAE. And the aim of this MOU is to put in place the local currency settlement system. So this is going to be the system that will be established through this MOU, and under this system the complete framework will be formed so that the transactions can happen by using the INR and the dirham, that is the currency of the United Arab Emirates, okay? So this is the local, remember this local currency settlement system. The aim is to put in place a local currency settlement system. The MOU covers all the current account transactions, that is the trade that will happen between the two countries, the transfers that will happen between the two countries, as well as the services that will be traded in between the two countries, the trade of the goods as well as the trade of the services, as well as for the capital account transactions, that is for the investment okay, for the loan and such kind of things also. So the MOU covers all the current account transactions, the trade in goods, the trade in services, the transfer payments, as well as the capital account transactions such as the investment and the loans. So the creation of the LCSS, that is the local currency settlement system, would enable the exporters and the importers to invoice, to provide the bill in their own currency, in rupees, or if we are talking about UAE, it will be in dirham. So you can understand that the local currencies will be utilized for the cross-border transactions, which in turn would enable the development of the INR AED foreign exchange market. Okay. This arrangement would also promote the investments and the remittances that are happening between the two countries to come in the local currency. So the use of local currencies would optimize the transaction cost. Now the rupees will not be converted into dollar, or the dirham would not be needed to be converted into dollar, and then they if the dirham is getting converted into dollar, then again the dollar has to be converted into rupee. So the transaction cost is there. Okay, the fee has to be paid when one currency is getting transferred into another country. So that transaction cost will reduce. Okay, so when dollar is being converted into rupee, you have to give some fees. Okay, so that is now the brokerage fees, or the fees will not be needed to be given, as the transaction cost will reduce a lot, and the settlement time will also reduce. Okay, now directly the dirham will be converted into rupees. There will be no middle currency such as dollars. So the settlement time for the transactions will also reduce, including for remittances from Indians residing in UAE. So the money can come easily in India. So this is the framework. So the MOU has been signed so that framework can be established for the local currency settlement system. How this system will work, when the framework will come, then we will understand it better, that how directly from the dirham and the rupees the transaction will happen. But I hope you have understood the basic idea, that now the dollar will not be required for the transactions, and it will reduce the transaction cost and the settlement time by a lot. Okay, so that is a major benefit for India and the other country also. So now coming to the second MOU for the payments and the messaging system. So under the MOU on the payments and messaging system, the two central banks agreed to cooperate on three major things. So the first is linking of the fast payment systems, or we can say the real-time payment system. So the UPI will be linked, the UPI of India will be linked with the instant payment platform of the UAE, so that the real-time transactions can happen, real-time payment settlement can happen. The UPI IPP linkage will enable the users in either country to make fast, convenient, safe, cost-effective, cross-border fund transfers. So the fund transfers will happen easily through this linkage. Okay, like the UPI was linked with the PayNow. Similarly, UPI was of India and the PayNow was of Singapore. Similarly, the UPI is now getting linked with the instant payment platform. UPI is of India and the IPP is of UAE. So that is a big achievement because the cross-border fund transfers will be very fast, convenient now. Okay. Second MOU is for this second MOU, it is also talking about the linking of the respective card switches. So the RuPay switch and the UAE switch, they will be linked. The linking of card switches. So the linkage of the card switches will facilitate the mutual acceptance of the domestic cards and processing of the card transfers. So you can understand that the RuPay card will be easily utilized in the UAE, and the UAE card will be easily utilized in the India because of this card switch that has happened. So the domestic cards, the linking of card switches will facilitate the mutual acceptance of the domestic cards in either countries, and the processing of card transactions will also happen easily. The linkage of the messaging systems. So now coming to the messaging systems. So under the MOU, under the second MOU, it has been said that we will explore, the India and the UAE will be exploring the linking of the payment messaging system. So in India, I hope you have seen the financial stability report session that I had taken. In that I have explained the SFMS, that is the domestic financial messaging system, through which what happens that the interbank financial transactions that is happening, so the messages is easily sent between the banks, and the information is sent between the banks for the interbank transactions, as well as the centralized payment system, that is the information regarding the RTGS, the messages regarding the RTGS and the NEFT is sent between the banks, and the information is provided through the to the banks through the structured financial messaging system, that is the domestic financial messaging system in our country. So it is said in this MOU that we will be exploring the linking of the payment messaging system, that is the structured financial messaging system of India, with the messaging system of UAE, so that the banks of the two countries can easily send and receive the messages, and they can easily do the transactions in between the countries, and easily the messages can be sent for the financial transactions. Okay, that is required. So the linkage of the messaging system is aimed to facilitate the bilateral financing messages between the two countries, that will make the transactions easier in between the two countries. So I hope you have understood the two MOUs. The benefit of the two MOUs are aimed at facilitating the seamless cross-border transactions and the payments. So the cross-border transactions can easily happen, the payments can easily happen. For this, the two MOUs have been signed and foster greater economic cooperation between the two countries. Okay, so these are very big MOUs that have been signed between the two countries. The first MOU is especially important as the dollar will be used less. The India can directly use rupees, and the UAE will be able to use the dirham for the transactions in between the two countries. The second MOU is linking the payment system and the messaging system. So if the second MOU could work properly, the payment system and the payment and the messaging system would be interlinked, and due to which what will happen, that easily the transactions, the payment settlement can happen in between the two countries. So there is huge benefits for both the countries. So now I hope you will easily able to give the right answer of this question, that recently the MOU has been signed where. The MOU is for establishment of the framework for the use of the local currencies for the transactions, and the which kind of framework is required to put in place. The second question is regarding, you have to tell that which of the following is the incorrect statement in the given statements, which of the following is incorrect. Okay, so I hope you will be easily able to answer these two questions. Now if you want to understand anything, if you want to have if you have any common query, if you want to resolve those common queries, we have brought for you the comprehensive guide for RBI, NABARD and SEBI, so that through a single guidebook you can get the complete information regarding the syllabus of the examination. You can get the PYQs, the previous year questions through this guidebook, as well as you are going to get the sources that from where to study. So everything has been provided in these guidebooks, and you can easily download these guidebooks. The link is provided in the description box below. So register yourself and download these free guidebooks. Okay, that is to save your time and your efforts. So thank you very much. If you have any query, you can write it in the comment section below, and you can mail us here or you can contact us through this number. Thank you very much, everyone.